when you look at the valuations of these countries. What you see is Korea is trading at a price-book ratio of 1. Japan obviously hit very, very hard in terms of the Q4 GDP figure that was minus 6.3%, and it shocked quite a lot of people. And we know that Japan is probably headed for a recession. But when you take into account those valuations, it does not necessarily mean that we see those stock markets underperform or that they will drop sharply going forwards. In fact, there has been some interesting study done by the London School of Business a few years back, and the researchers actually found that when you analyze the correlation of economic growth with stock market performance, they found that there was actually a very slight negative correlation of the two, whereas normally you would assume that poor economic growth necessarily means stocks to drop. And so that's not actually the case, and that's why we suggest that you shouldn't exclude looking for opportunities of good companies in those kind of economies, even at this moment, because some of the bad news in terms of valuations and bad expectations may well be priced in, and also those economies might roll out some stimulus measures as well that could actually support the prices.
Martin, just quickly, though, as it pertains to the tech cycle here and really the supply chain, I mean, Apple's out there warning about it, but you're talking about markets like South Korea, Japan, that are also heavily dependent on the smartphone business, more broadly speaking. I mean, we've seen Samsung shares dip this morning some 2%. Should we be concerned about the smartphone supply chain?
Well, I don't want to necessarily make a very specific prediction here on the smartphone supply chain. Certainly, there's a risk of global supply chains in many sectors being affected, and ultimately, a lot of this will depend on how exactly the virus, if as and when the virus will be slowing down the infection rate. So there's a lot of question mark and a lot of uncertainties on some of these factors right now, and that makes it obviously very difficult for investors to know, is it now a great time to invest in stocks? Is it a time to lighten up? And that's quite difficult. We are actually suggesting that it depends a little bit on where an investor is coming from, what's the time frame, etc.
Hi, I'm Emily Tan, and thanks for watching CNBC. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks for watching.